This was just a muddy riverbank, and now it's one of the richest cities on Earth. But how did London rise from nothing, without machines, without maps, and survive invasions, fires, and plagues? Let's go back. Way back. A winding river cut through an endless swamp. A thick forest covered the rolling hills. Wild animals roamed freely, and nobody lived there. But soon everything would change, because across the sea, a powerful empire was waking up. It was 43 AD, and the Roman invaders were ready to march into Britain. They followed the river upwards and chose a spot where the land was high and flat. There was a little tribe living there, but the Romans quickly chased them away. They cleared the land, drained the swamp, and built the very first version of London. They gave it a name, Londinium, and built it with stone roads, wooden houses, a grand bridge, and tall walls. Her sister had died under mysterious circumstances, and she blamed the Roman governor. She wanted revenge, so she led her warriors into Londinium and began pillaging the city. Over the next few centuries, Londinium grew steadily and peacefully. Farms grew around the city. Villagers moved inside its walls, and traders docked their boats along the river. Londinium was becoming a true hub of trade. It kept growing with traders, cobblers, fishmongers, and bakers. In the east, Rome was too distracted to send help. And in the north, the old enemies of the Britons were back. They protected their city, and they kept pushing the enemies back. Slowly but surely, the Britons began taking control. But in 410 AD, the Roman Empire officially fell. They had spent the last century learning from the Romans, copying their technology and building up their defenses. The Romans loved Londinium. It was a great base to control the nearby tribes. Year after year, they grew bolder, landing farther inland and targeting the city's suburbs. When the Vikings arrived, they went straight for the suburbs, burning, looting, and killing everyone in their path. After 3 long weeks, the king was forced to retreat again, leaving London behind. They established a kingdom, defeated invading armies, and even converted to Christianity. He trained an army, made alliances, and waited for the Vikings to leave. Then he marched into the destroyed suburbs and began rebuilding. William the Conqueror even took the throne of England in 1066, establishing a new royal dynasty. The Roman Empire that built the city was crumbling apart. Fishermen expanded into shipping, farmers grew closer to the city, and villagers moved into the suburbs. London was the center of England. King Alfred even built a royal palace, bringing the monarchy to London. Its leaders were corrupt, its money was worthless, and its soldiers couldn't protect its citizens. Shops reopened, homes were repaired, and life went on. London was recovering. Wooden houses were going up in flames. Ancient churches were being scorched, and the entire city was in danger. Meanwhile, firefighters raced against the wind, trying to put out the flames. Soon 5 entire sections of the city were gone. Over 100 acres were scorched, and 10,000 homes were destroyed. Once again, London was a burnt-out wasteland. At first, people didn't know what to do. They planned wider streets, bigger buildings, and taller homes. They created parks, planted trees, and designed smarter sewers. Its old buildings were torn down. Skyscrapers replaced its old homes. They burned the bodies, closed the borders, and prayed to God. Every park has archaeological treasures underneath. And thanks to its location, the city could also become a hub of trade. Food supplies dwindled, and the entire country was plunged into darkness. Factories filled the air with smoke. Trains connected the capital to faraway lands. In fact, soon after opening the city, the Romans found gold in the nearby hills. So they built a mint to turn that gold into coins. By 1830, London was home to over 1 million people. Railways connected its suburbs. Markets supplied food to its citizens. All around you are the whispers of the past. But if you dig beneath the surface, you'll find buried ruins, forgotten walls, and layers of lost cities built one over the other. And trade spread London's influence across the globe. And after a week of fighting, the entire city was gone. It was burned to the ground and abandoned for years. Businesses were abandoned. The streets were empty, and fear hung over the city. Some people never recovered. Whole communities were devastated. London survived. These coins featured the head of the emperor and helped the economy thrive. This time they used tougher materials like brick and stone. They built underground heating systems, public baths, and tall forts. They even hired engineers to make sure the streets were perfectly straight. Trade brought wealth to merchants. Soldiers kept order throughout the empire, and emperors proudly minted coins for the whole world. Yet this only encouraged them to demand more. Soon the king had no choice but to flee. London was being attacked. Because of this, Londinium became a wealthy and influential city. Yet its success didn't last long. In the year 60, a fierce warrior queen named Boudica got really angry at the Romans. She ordered her troops to burn every house, murder every citizen, and destroy every part of the Roman Empire that stood in their way. But Rome wasn't ready to give up. You see, despite its troubles in Britain, Rome was growing more powerful than ever before. Roads connected its far-flung provinces. Rome was entering its golden age, and it wasn't going to let some angry tribes stop it. So the Romans returned to Britain and began rebuilding Londinium, and these improvements worked. Yet beyond its walls, a big change was happening. Londinium, however, was too far away for most of Europe to notice. In the west, barbarians were attacking Londinium's trading partners. Londinium was being attacked, and the city needed heroes. Luckily for Londinium, the Britons were ready. When the invaders arrived, the Britons were ready. They repelled attack after attack. For the next 200 years, they ruled Londinium, with Saxon, Danish, and French warriors joining their ranks. During all this, London kept growing. Yet the good times didn't last forever. Viking raids swept across Britain and threatened to tear London apart. The king was worried, so he paid the Vikings to leave him alone. Merchants ran from the city, soldiers prepared for battle, and common folk barricaded themselves indoors. The king returned to try and save his city, but the Vikings had dug deep into the land. It was a terrible defeat, but the king refused to give up. He repaired the roads, convinced people to return, and built a series of castles around the city. And slowly but surely, London began to recover, continued to grow with farms, villages, and monasteries spreading outwards. Over the next 300 years, London thrived. Trade blossomed, wool was exported, spices were imported, and the Thames carried goods to and from distant lands. Throughout all this, London grew alongside it. New shops lined the streets, tall churches reached the sky, and its suburbs became home to thousands. Then suddenly, everything changed. People began getting sick and dying. The streets became filthy. It was the Black Death, and London was being torn apart. Yet nothing worked. Families were getting wiped out. Their homes were abandoned, and their corpses were piled in mass graves. By the end, half the population was dead. London's economy collapsed. After another plague in 1665, people began trickling back into the city. Then suddenly it all burned down again. 1666, a fire broke out in a small bakery and spread quickly throughout the city. People desperately ran from the city, carrying whatever they could. For 5 days they fought, but the fire just kept spreading. But this time, London would rebuild itself. And by 1700, London was officially the biggest city in the whole world. Ships filled the Thames. London was growing faster than anyone could imagine. Throughout all this, London kept changing, becoming a hub of culture, art, and innovation. Today, it's a modern metropolis, a global hub, a cultural treasure, and one of the most powerful cities in the world. Every street is a path from Roman times. Every skyscraper hides ancient foundations. Every museum sits on top of old foundations. You can almost hear the ghosts of Roman soldiers marching through the streets, or feel the spirits of medieval builders laying bricks in the walls. So next time you walk down a street in London, remember, you're not just walking in a modern city, you're walking through time.